The morning sun cast long shadows across the Seoul Institute of Interspecies Studies when Dr. Park Min-ho first saw the alien ships. They appeared like silver dots against the blue sky, growing larger by the minute. His coffee mug trembled in his hands as he watched from his office window on the 15th floor. "They're actually here," he whispered to himself. The world had been preparing for this moment for 3 days. Radio signals from space had announced the arrival of the Galactic Council. Earth's leaders had worked around the clock to prepare a welcome ceremony. Everyone hoped this would be the beginning of a new era for humanity. Dr. Park adjusted his glasses and looked at the stack of research papers on his desk. As Earth's leading expert on animal behavior, he had been chosen to help with the first contact. Government wanted to show the aliens how advanced human science had become. The ships landed in the large field behind the institute. They were beautiful machines, smooth and gleaming like pearls. Dr. Park watched as a ramp extended from the largest ship. His heart pounded as he saw the first alien step onto Earth's soil. Ambassador Vexstar was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large black eyes. He wore a simple white robe that seemed to glow in the sunlight. Behind him came other aliens, each one carrying strange devices that looked like a mix of computers and weapons. Dr. Park walked down to meet them, accompanied by President Kim Tae-yong and several other officials. The president stepped forward first, extending his hand in greeting. "Welcome to Earth," President Kim said with a warm smile. "We are honored by your visit." Ambassador Vexstar looked at the extended hand with confusion. After a moment, he reached out and touched it briefly. His skin felt cold and smooth, like touching water. "We greet you in the name of the Galactic Council," the ambassador said. His voice was strange, like wind blowing through empty spaces. "We have come to evaluate your species for possible membership in our federation." Dr. Park stepped forward. "I am Dr. Park Min-ho. I study how different species interact with each other. We are very excited to learn about your civilization." Ambassador's large eyes focused on Dr. Park. "You study species interaction. This is good. We wish to understand how your people have survived on this world." President Kim gestured toward the Institute building. "Please, let us show you what we have accomplished. Dr. Park can explain our scientific advances." As they walked toward the building, Dr. Park noticed something strange. The aliens kept looking around nervously, as if expecting danger. Devices beeped and clicked constantly, scanning everything around them. "Is something wrong?" Dr. Park asked. Commander Zelphic, the military advisor, stepped closer to the ambassador. "The readings are disturbing," he said in a low voice. "This planet shows signs of massive predator activity." "How do these humans survive?" Dr. Park smiled. "Oh, you must be detecting our animals. Don't worry, they're completely safe. Would you like to meet some of them?" The aliens exchanged worried glances. Ambassador Vexstar nodded slowly. "Yes, we must understand this threat." Dr. Park led them to the Institute's research yard. The first thing they saw was Max, a large German shepherd, playing fetch with one of the graduate students. The dog ran happily across the grass, his tail wagging as he caught a tennis ball. The aliens stopped walking. Their devices went crazy with beeping sounds. "By the void," whispered Commander Zelphic. "It's a massive predator. Look at those fangs, those claws. Why isn't it attacking?" Dr. Park laughed. "Max, he's harmless. It's been with us for 3 years. Max, come here, boy." The dog ran over, panting happily. He sat down next to Dr. Park and looked up at the aliens with friendly eyes. Dr. Park scratched behind Max's ears. "Good boy," Dr. Park said. "These are our new friends from space." The aliens stepped back in horror. Commander Zelphic raised his scanning device. The creature responds to commands. They have enslaved it. Enslaved. Dr. Park looked confused. No, Max is part of our family. He helps us with our research. He's very intelligent. Ambassador Vextar's voice shook. You forced this predator to serve you. How many others have you captured? Before Dr. Park could answer, more animals appeared. Luna, a beautiful white cat, walked over and rubbed against Dr. Park's leg. 3 graduate students rode up on horses, returning from a field study. A group of trained dolphins could be seen jumping in the research pool nearby. The aliens were silent for a long moment. Their devices continued beeping frantically. This is impossible, Commander Zelthic said. No species should be able to control so many apex predators. They have weaponized their entire ecosystem. Dr. Park tried to explain. We don't control them. They choose to be with us. We take care of each other. Last Commander Zelthic spat. No predator serves willingly. You must use some form of mental domination. Ambassador Vextar stepped forward. Show us your military forces. We must understand the full extent of this threat. President Kim looked worried, but agreed. They drove to a nearby military base where General Lee Juwan was waiting. The general had prepared a demonstration of South Korea's special forces. The aliens watched in growing horror as soldiers worked with trained dogs to detect explosives. They saw mounted police units practicing crowd control. We witnessed Marines working with dolphins to locate underwater mines. Each human fights with multiple creatures. Commander Zelthic reported to the ambassador. They have created an army of monsters. Dr. Park overheard and tried to correct them. They're not monsters. They're our partners. We've been working together for thousands of years. Thousands of years, Ambassador Vextar repeated slowly. You have been enslaving these creatures for millennia. This is worse than we thought. Demonstration continued with search and rescue dogs finding hidden objects, police horses navigating obstacle courses, and even trained birds delivering messages. Each display made the aliens more frightened. We have seen enough, Ambassador Vextar announced. This planet harbors a species of unprecedented danger. Never in galactic history have we encountered beings who can dominate so many different predator species. But you don't understand, Dr. Park pleaded. We don't dominate them. We love them. They love us back. It's not about control. It's about friendship. Commander Zelthic's scanner beeped urgently. Ambassador, I'm detecting similar predator signatures across the entire planet. Every human settlement shows the same pattern. They have weaponized their entire world. The aliens began backing toward their ships. Ambassador Vextar looked at President Kim with what might have been pity. Your species represents a threat to galactic stability, the ambassador said. If your technique spread to other worlds, it could destroy the natural order of the universe. Wait, President Kim called out. Let us explain. You're misunderstanding everything. But the aliens were already boarding their ships. Commander Zelthic was speaking rapidly into his communication device, reporting back to the Galactic Council. Species that can turn apex predators into living weapons, he was saying. They must be contained before they can spread beyond their world. Dr. Park watched helplessly as the ships lifted off. Max whined softly beside him, sensing his distress. Luna rubbed against his leg, trying to comfort him. What have we done? President Kim asked. Dr. Park looked down at his animal companions, then up at the disappearing ships. You showed them who we really are. The problem is, they don't understand what that means. High above Earth, the alien fleet was already assembling. The Galactic Council had made their decision. Humanity would be contained until they could determine how to deal with this unprecedented threat. The species that loved their animals was about to discover that the galaxy feared them for it. 3 weeks after the first contact, the sky above Earth was no longer blue. Massive alien ships blocked out the sun, creating an endless metal ceiling over the planet. Fleet Admiral Korthfell commanded 50,000 vessels, each one larger than Earth's biggest cities. President Kim Tae-yeon stood in the emergency command center deep beneath Seoul. The room buzzed with activity as military leaders from around the world worked together. General Lee Jae-won studied tactical displays while Admiral Choi Sun-hee coordinated naval forces. "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the alien fleet," reported Communications Officer Park Ji-soo. President Kim nodded. "Put it through." The holographic display showed Ambassador Vexter, but he looked different now. His peaceful white robes had been replaced with dark military armor. His large black eyes held no warmth. "People of Earth," the ambassador began, "you have 48 hours to surrender your monster armies, release all predator species from your control, and submit to Galactic Council authority. If you refuse, we will be forced to cleanse your world." The transmission ended. The command center fell silent. "Cleanse our world," General Lee repeated quietly. "They plan to kill everyone." President Kim looked around the room. "What are options?" Admiral Choi shook her head. "Okay, our most powerful weapons can't even scratch their ships. Okay, their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours. Then we fight with what we have," said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Dr. Yoon Hana entering the command center. The veterinary geneticist looked tired but determined. Behind her walked Dr. Bae Kung-hoon, carrying a large case of equipment. "Doctor, UN President," Kim said. "I thought you were evacuating with the other civilians." "I'm not leaving," Dr. Yuan replied. "And neither are they." She gestured to the monitors showing feeds from around the world. In every city, people were staying with their animals. Dogs sat loyally beside their families. Cats refused to leave their homes. Horses stood calmly in their stables despite the chaos overhead. "The aliens think we control our animals," Dr. Yoon continued. "K. They don't understand that our animals choose to stay with us. K. That bond is stronger than fear." Dr. Bae opened his case, revealing communication devices and electronic equipment. "We've been working on something, a way to coordinate between species like never before." "What do you mean?" General Lee asked. "Think about it," Dr. Yoon explained. "Humans have good eyes and hands. Dogs have incredible hearing and smell. Birds can fly and see from above. Marine mammals can work underwater. And all these abilities, we'd have the perfect reconnaissance and defense network," Admiral Choi finished. "But how do we communicate with them during battle?" Dr. Bae smiled. "We've been studying animal communication for years. With these new devices, we can translate basic commands and warnings between species in real time." Meanwhile, on the other side of Seoul, wildlife expert Nam Soo-yang was working on something even more ambitious. She stood in Seoul Grand Park, surrounded by animals that had never worked with humans before. "Easy, girl," she whispered to a large brown bear named Hannah. "I know this is scary, but we need your help." The bear looked up at the dark sky filled with alien ships. She seemed to understand that something was very wrong. Around them, wolves paced nervously while eagles circled overhead. "Aliens expect us to fight like they do," Nam Soo-yang explained to her assistant. "Ship against ship, weapon against weapon. But we don't have to fight their way." Her radio crackled. "Nam Soo-yang, this is command. We're reading massive alien movement over Busan. They're sending scouts to land." "Copy that," she replied. "We're ready." In Busan, the alien scouts descended in small ships. Commander Zelthic led the force personally, confident that a few thousand troops could secure the city. They expected to find frightened humans hiding in buildings. Instead, they found something else entirely. The first scout ship landed in an empty park. As the aliens emerged, they saw no humans at all. The city seemed deserted. Commander Zelthic felt uneasy. "Spread out," he ordered. "Find the humans and their monsters. The scouts moved through the streets, their weapons ready. Thing was quiet. It's too quiet. Then the attack began. It started with the birds. Thousands of crows, pigeons, and seagulls dove from the sky. They didn't attack the aliens directly, but they blocked their vision and tangled their equipment. The aliens stumbled blindly, trying to swat away the flying creatures. Next came the dogs. They appeared from alleys and buildings, moving in coordinated packs. They didn't attack like wild animals. They moved with purpose, following a plan. Some dogs herded the aliens into specific areas, while others created noise and confusion. What? It is happening, Commander Zelthic shouted into his radio. The predators are working together. From the harbor came the dolphins. They had been watching the alien ships from underwater. Using sonar, they mapped the enemy positions and sent the information to the birds above. The birds then guided the ground forces to the right locations. Hidden in a building nearby, Captain Kong Mingi watched through binoculars. She wore a new type of headset that Dr. Bay had designed. Through it, she could hear translated communications from the animals. Bird team reports 12 enemies in the square, she heard. Wolfpack moving to surround them. A marine team has underwater escape routes ready. She spoke into her microphone. All units, this is Human Command. Begin Phase 2. The real surprise came when the aliens tried to retreat to their ships. They found their path blocked by a line of horses, elephants from the zoo, and even a few tigers. The large animals didn't attack, but they created an unmovable wall. Behind this wall, human soldiers finally appeared, but they weren't fighting alone. Each soldier was accompanied by multiple animals. Dogs provided early warning. Cats moved silently through shadows. Birds acted as living communication systems. Commander Zelthic watched in horror as his advanced alien troops were outmaneuvered by creatures he considered primitive. This is impossible, he whispered. Commander, one of his soldiers called out. The predators are herding us toward the harbor. Why would they? ... Double quotes Commander. Zelthic's eyes widened. It's a trap. At the harbor, the aliens found themselves surrounded by water on 3 sides and animals on the 4th. They were trapped, but no one was attacking them. The animals just watched and waited. Captain Kang Minji stepped forward, her animal companions beside her. Commander Zelthic, we don't want to hurt you. We want to talk. You dare speak to me, Monster Master. The alien commander spat. I'm not a Monster Master, Captain Kong replied. I'm their friend. And right now, my friends are showing you mercy. A dolphin poked his head above the water and made a series of clicks. Captain Kong listened to her translator. Marina says, your ships are preparing to fire on the city, she reported. She can sink them from below if needed. But she'd rather not. Commander Zelthic looked around at the animals surrounding him. For the first time, he really looked at them. They weren't acting like enslaved creatures. They seemed calm, almost gentle. The dog next to Captain Kong was wagging its tail. I don't understand, he said quietly. Then let us explain, Captain Kong replied. But first, call off your attack, high above. Fleet Admiral Corvell watched the scene through his ship's sensors. His military advisors were arguing loudly. Sir, we should level the city, one advisor said. These humans are more dangerous than we thought. Said another. Look at the tactical display. They had our scouts completely surrounded, but they didn't kill them. What kind of warriors show mercy to their enemies? The Admiral studied the data. Every human settlement showed the same pattern. Coordinated animal behavior, but no deaths. The humans were fighting to protect, not to destroy. Perhaps, he said slowly, we don't understand these creatures as well as we thought. Back in Seoul, Dr. Park Min-ho watched the news feeds from around the world. Similar scenes were playing out everywhere. In New York, train rats were providing intelligence from subway tunnels. In London, trained foxes were coordinating with police dogs. In Tokyo, cats were somehow communicating with electronic systems. They're not just fighting, Dr. Park said to himself. They're dancing. He was right. Across Earth, humans and animals were working together in ways that seemed impossible. It wasn't about control or domination. It was about partnership, trust, and love. The aliens had come expecting to find a world of monster tamers. Instead, they found something far more dangerous to their understanding of the universe. They found a species that had learned to make friends with their fears. The siege of Earth had begun, but it wasn't going the way anyone expected. The war for humanity's survival would be won or lost, not with weapons, but with the oldest force on Earth, the bond between different species choosing to stand together. Above the clouds, Fleet Admiral Corthell made a decision that would change everything. Open a channel to the human leadership, he ordered. It's time we learned what we're really fighting. 2 months into the siege, the war had changed completely. Fleet Admiral Corthell stared at his tactical screens in disbelief. Every day brought new reports of impossible human victories. His mighty fleet was being outmaneuvered by creatures riding horses and working with dolphins. Sir, reported his aide, we've lost contact with another scouting party, this time near the city called Vancouver. The Admiral rubbed his temples. How many is that this week? 17, sir. All captured without casualties. The humans keep asking them to surrender peacefully. On Earth, Captain Kong Minji was leading her combined unit through the forests outside. So, her team was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Sergeant Lim Dayan rode alongside her on horseback, while trained eagles circled overhead. A pack of wolves moved silently through the trees, and even a few bears had joined their group. Eagle Team reports enemy movement 2 kilometers north. Captain Kong said into her radio, it's 12 scouts moving in standard formation. Engineer Oh Hyan Wu's voice crackled back from base command. Roger that. We're tracking them on satellite. Wolfpack is already moving to intercept. The new communication system was working better than anyone had hoped. Dr. Bay, Kun Kun's translators allowed real-time coordination between species. What had started as basic commands had evolved into complex battle strategies. Bear Team, take position on the ridge, Captain Kong ordered. Remember, we want them alive. The alien scouts moved carefully through the forest. They had learned to fear Earth's woodlands. Too many of their comrades had disappeared among the trees. Commander Zelthic led this group, personally determined to understand how the humans were defeating superior technology. The attack came from everywhere at once. Eagles dove from above, not to harm, but to create confusion. Wolves emerged from the underbrush, herding the aliens into a clearing. Bears appeared on the surrounding hills, blocking all escape routes. It's happening again, Commander Zelthic said into his radio. The entire forest is coordinating against us. Then the humans appeared. Captain Kong rode into the clearing, her animal companions beside her. She looked calm, almost friendly. Commander Zelthic, she said, we meet again. Will you listen to us now? The teeny commander looked around at the animals surrounding his men. They weren't attacking, just watching, waiting. You have defeated us again, he said quietly, but I still don't understand how. Captain Kong dismounted from her horse. Cause you're thinking like a conqueror, not a partner. Watch. She walked over to one of the wolves, a large gray male named Thunder. The wolf looked up at her with intelligent eyes. Captain Kong knelt down and spoke to him in a gentle voice. Thunder, show our guests how we work together. The wolf tilted his head, listening to her words. Then he did something that made the aliens step back in amazement. He walked over to Commander Zelthic and sat down beside him, not threatening, just present. He's not afraid of you, Captain Kung explained. And he's not angry. He's curious. Thunder wants to understand why you're fighting us. Commander Zelthic looked down at the wolf. The creature's eyes held intelligence and something else. Compassion. This is impossible, the alien whispered. Predators don't show mercy. They do when they're part of a family, Captain Kong replied. Meanwhile, in the underwater research station near Jeju Island, Dr. Park Min-ho was making the discovery that would change everything. He had been studying the alien technology captured from previous encounters, trying to understand how their society worked. Dr. Song Yun-hai, he called to his colleague, "You need to see this." Dr. Song swam over from the dolphin communication pool. She had been working with a pod of dolphins to decode alien underwater signals. Her wetsuit was still dripping as she looked at Dr. Park's computer screen. "What is it?" she asked. "I've been analyzing the alien genetic records," Dr. Park explained. "Look at this data from their home world." The screen showed ancient DNA sequences and fossil records. Dr. Song studied them carefully, her eyes widening with understanding. "They had them too," she whispered. "The aliens had animal companions just like us, millions of years ago," Dr. Park confirmed. "Their ancestors worked with creatures that looked like flying reptiles, swimming mammals, and pack hunters. But something changed." Dr. Song scrolled through more data. They eliminated them. Every single companion species was either killed or genetically modified into something else. "But why would they do that?" "Control," Dr. Song said sadly. They decided that partnership was weakness. They chose domination over cooperation. The realization hit both scientists at the same time. The aliens weren't just afraid of human-animal bonds. They were afraid of remembering what they had lost. On the alien flagship, Scholar Nexarone was having similar thoughts. She was young, for her species only 300 years old, and she had been studying human behavior since the siege began. "War Master," she said to her superior, "I request permission to study the captured human communications." War Master Kextel barely looked up from his battle plans. "Why waste time? We know they control their beasts through some form of mental domination. But what if they don't?" Scholar Nexarone pressed. "What if the relationship is voluntary?" This time, the War Master did look up. His large black eyes narrowed dangerously. "You speak heresy, young one. No creature serves willingly." "Then how do you explain their tactical success?" Scholar Nexarone asked. "Our computers show that their coordination is too perfect for forced control. There's no delay, no resistance, no fear." War Master Kextel stood up, his tall frame towering over the scholar. "'Cause they have perfected the art of slavery. They have made their beasts happy to serve." But Scholar Nexarone had seen something in the human communications that troubled her. She had watched footage of humans grieving when their animal companions were injured. She had seen children playing with creatures that could easily kill them. She had witnessed old humans crying when their elderly dogs died peacefully. Permission to conduct field research, she requested. "Denied," War Master Kextel replied. "Huh? You will study our weapons, not their weaknesses." That night, Scholar Nexarone made a decision that would change the course of the war. She accessed the ship's transportation system and beamed herself down to Earth's surface. She landed in a small town outside Tokyo, where the fighting had been lighter. The streets were quiet, but she could sense the presence of the humans and their companions. Her scanning device detected multiple life forms in the nearby buildings. A soft sound made her turn around. A small creature was watching her from behind a tree. It was covered in orange and white fur, with large green eyes and a long tail. A cat. Scholar Nexarone had never seen a living cat before. In her species history, all small predators had been eliminated first. They were considered too dangerous to exist near civilized beings. The cat stepped closer, seemingly unafraid. It made a soft purring sound that Scholar Nixaroon felt in her bones. The sound was somehow comforting, like music. "Hello, little predator," she whispered. The cat tilted his head and meowed softly. Again, it did something that shocked Scholar Nixaroon to her core. It walked over and rubbed against her leg, purring loudly. "You're not afraid," she said in amazement. "You're being friendly." A human voice spoke from behind her. "Her name is Sakura. She likes meeting new people." Scholar Nixaroon spun around to see a young human woman watching her. The woman looked calm, not frightened at all. "I am Tanaka Yuki," the woman said, "and you're one of the aliens who's been attacking us." Yes," Scholar Nixaroon admitted, "but I'm not here to fight. I'm here to understand." Tanaka Yuki smiled. "Then you've come to the right place. Saka is an excellent teacher." The cat continued purring and rubbing against Scholar Nixaroon's leg. The alien scholar felt something she had never experienced before. Peace, joy, connection. "She chooses to be near me," Scholar Nixaroon said in wonder. "Of course she does," Tanaka Yuki replied. "That's what friendship means." For the first time in her life, Scholar Nixaroon began to understand what her species had lost, and she realized that the war in the skies above was not really about territory or technology. It was about remembering how to love. Back on the flagship, Stahl noticed that Scholar Nixaroon was missing. He smiled coldly. The young scholar had probably been captured by the humans and their monsters. She would learn the hard way that partnership was just another word for slavery. But deep in his heart, in a place he tried to keep locked away, War Master Kextall remembered something from his species' ancient past. He remembered stories of the old times when his ancestors had companions who chose to fight beside them. He remembered, and he was afraid of what that memory might mean. 3 months into the siege, everything changed when Scholar Nixaroon failed to return to her ship. War Master Kextall declared her captured by human monster masters and launched a rescue mission. What he found instead would shake the foundation of everything his people believed. Dr. Song Yunhai was working in her laboratory when the alarms began ringing. Her research partner, a German shepherd named Buddy, lifted his head and whined softly. Through the window, she could see alien ships descending toward the city. "Coming for someone," she said to Buddy. "But who?" The answer came when Captain Jujihi burst into the lab. "Dr. Song, we have a situation. The aliens are demanding the return of one of their people. A scholar who went missing 3 days ago." "Missing? Did we capture someone?" Captain Ru shook his head. "That's just it. We don't have any alien prisoners. Everyone we've captured has been returned safely after questioning." Dr. Song grabbed her emergency kit and followed Captain Ru outside. Buddy trotted beside them, his trained nose already picking up scents that humans couldn't detect. The alien ships landed in the city center, and armed soldiers poured out. But instead of attacking, they formed a defensive circle. War Master Kextall emerged last, his weapon drawn but pointed at the ground. "Humans," his voice boomed across the square, "return Scholar Nixaroon immediately, or we will level the city." Captain Ru stepped forward. "War Master, we don't have your scholar. All our prisoners have been returned." "Lies, War Master," Kextall snarled. "She was studying your monsters. You have captured her to learn our secrets." That's when a small voice called out from the crowd, "I'm here." Everyone turned to see Scholar Nixaroon walking across the square, but she wasn't alone. Beside her walked Sakura, the orange and white cat, and behind them came Tanaka Yuki carrying a small bag. War Master Kextall stared in shock. "Scholar Nixaroon, you're alive?" "Yes, War Master, and I've learned something wonderful." The alien soldiers raised their weapons, expecting the worst. War Master Kextall's eyes narrowed as he saw the cat walking freely beside his subordinate. "Step away from the predator," he ordered. "We'll deal with the beast, no scholar," Nexarune said, firmly. "Sakura is my friend." The word friend hit the assembled aliens like a physical blow. Several soldiers stepped back. War Master Kextal's weapon trembled in his hands. "Impossible," he whispered. "Predators cannot be friends. They can only serve or destroy." Scholar Nexarune knelt down and gently scratched behind Sakura's ears. The cat purred loudly, the sound carrying across the silent square. "Listen to her, War Master. She's happy. She chooses to be with me." "Brainwashing," War Master Kextal said, but his voice lacked conviction. "The humans have corrupted your mind." Dr. Song stepped forward. "May I speak, War Master?" The alien commander turned his large black eyes toward her. "You are the monster master who captured our scholar." "No," Dr. Song replied. "I'm a scientist who studies how different species communicate, okay? And I've learned something about your people that you might want to know." She pulled out a tablet and showed him the genetic data she and Dr. Park had discovered. "Your ancestors had companions too. Millions of years ago, your people lived and worked with other species, just like we do." War Master Kextal looked at the screen. His face went pale blue, paler than usual. "Where did you get this data?" "From your own ships," Dr. Song admitted. "We've been studying the technology you left behind after battles. Your computers contain your entire genetic history." The War Master stared at the ancient DNA sequences, the fossil records, the images of long-dead creatures that had once lived alongside his ancestors. "Kana, we eliminated them for a reason," he said quietly. "Partnership is weakness. Control is strength." "Then why are you losing this war?" Scholar Nexarune asked. The question hung in the air like a challenge. War Master Kextal looked around at his soldiers, then at the humans and their animal companions watching from nearby buildings. Dogs sat calmly beside their human families. Cats watched from windows. Birds perched on rooftops, all of them unafraid. "'Cause," Dr. Song said gently, "you're fighting the wrong war. You're trying to conquer us, but we're trying to understand you." At that moment, Buddy the German Shepherd did something that changed everything. He walked slowly toward War Master Kextal, his tail wagging low and friendly. The alien soldiers raised their weapons, but Buddy just sat down a few feet away and looked up at the War Master with kind eyes. "He wants to meet you," Dr. Song explained. "He's curious about you." War Master Kextal stared down at the dog. In his species history, all encounters with predators ended in death. Either the predator died or you did. There was no third option, but Buddy was offering a third option: friendship. "This is impossible," War Master Kextal said again, but his voice was softer now. Scholar Nexarune stood up, still holding Sakura. "War Master, what if we were wrong? What if our ancestors didn't eliminate their companions because they were weak, but because they were afraid?" "Afraid of what?" "Afraid of caring about something they might lose." The words hit War Master Kextal like a laser blast. In his long life, he had never allowed himself to care about anything except duty and control. The idea of forming a bond with another creature, of trusting something beyond his command, terrified him more than any weapon. Tanaka Yuki stepped forward and opened her bag. Inside were toys, food, and a small blanket that smelled like Sakura. "I brought these for Scholar Nexarune," she said, "so she can take care of Sakura properly." "Take care of?" War Master Kextal asked. "When you love someone, you take care of them," Tanaka Yuki explained. "You make sure they're fed, safe, and happy. It's not about control, it's about responsibility." Scholar Nexarune took the supplies gratefully. As she did, Sakura meowed and rubbed against her leg again. "Okay." The scholar's face lit up with joy, an expression War Master Kextal had never seen on his people before. She's teaching me, Scholar Nexaroon said. Every day, Sakura shows me something new about trust and friendship. The humans didn't capture me, War Master. They welcomed me. Dr. Song's radio crackled. Dr. Song, this is Dr. Park. We're getting reports from around the world. Other alien scholars are going missing too. War Master Kextal's eyes widened. What does that mean? Captain Rue smiled. It means your people are curious about us, coming down to Earth to learn. And humans everywhere are teaching them the same thing. Dr. Song added that friendship is possible between any species if both sides are willing to try. War Master looked up at his fleet in the sky, then down at Buddy, who was still sitting patiently nearby. For the first time in his life, he wondered what it would feel like to have a friend instead of a subordinate. This changes nothing, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. The Galactic Council has ordered your containment. Time to change the Galactic Council, Scholar Nexaroon said. As if summoned by her words, more alien ships began landing. But these weren't military vessels. They were smaller, carrying scientists, scholars, and young aliens who had heard rumors of the impossible things happening on Earth. War-Master Case Saul watched as his orderly invasion turned into something else entirely. Aliens were meeting humans and their animal companions. Some were afraid, some were curious, but all of them were seeing something they had never imagined possible. A world where predators and prey chose to live together in peace. War Master Scholar Nexaroon said quietly, what if we don't have to fight anymore? What if we could learn to live like this too? The War Master looked down at Buddy one more time. The dog's tail wagged hopefully. Slowly, carefully, War Master Kextal reached out his hand. Buddy sniffed it gently, then licked his fingers. For the first time in millions of years, a member of the Galactic Council experienced the simple joy of making a friend. But high above, in the command ship, Fleet Admiral Korthal was watching everything through his sensors. His face was dark with anger as he saw his soldiers laying down their weapons and his scholars playing with Earth's creatures. The humans had done something unforgivable. They had reminded his people what they used to be, and for that, he decided, Earth would burn. Fleet Admiral Korthal stared at the chaos below and made his final decision. His soldiers were abandoning their posts to play with Earth creatures. His scholars were learning alien concepts like friendship and trust. His perfectly ordered fleet was falling apart. Enough, he said to his bridge crew. Charge all weapons. We end this now. Commander Yosef, one of his younger officers, looked up in shock. Our people are still down there. If we fire on the planet, they are no longer our people, the Admiral replied coldly. They have been infected by human weakness. Better they die as martyrs than live as corrupted beings. On Earth, Dr. Kim Wonho was working frantically in his laboratory. The reformed alien scientist Dex Mirren worked beside him, their four hands, flying over keyboards and genetic sequencers. Around them, both human and alien researchers shared data and ideas. The biodiversity samples are ready, Dr. Kim announced. If we can get them to the alien homeworlds, we can begin restoration. Dex Mirren looked worried. But first, we must survive. Our sensors detect massive energy buildup in the fleet above. Admiral Korthal is preparing to destroy your world, War Master. Kextal burst into the laboratory, Buddy, the German shepherd, trotting beside him. The former enemy commander had learned to walk differently, no longer marching, but moving with the easy confidence of someone who had friends watching his back. Dr. Kim, we have perhaps 1 hour before the Admiral fires, he reported. T is there. Anything we can do? Yes, said a voice from the doorway. Scholar Nexaroon entered, carrying Sakura in her arms. Behind her came dozens of other aliens who had chosen to stay on Earth. We fight back. With what? War Master Kexdal asked. The Admiral has 50,000 ships. This, Scholar Nexaroon replied, holding up a communication device. I've been in contact with our homeworlds. News of what we've discovered here is spreading. Many of our people want to learn about partnership too. Dexmiran's eyes widened. You mean ... Civil war, Scholar Nexaroon confirmed. Half the Galactic Council wants to destroy Earth. The other half wants to save it and learn from it. Major Han Soyen entered the room in full combat gear, but she wasn't alone. A team of dolphins had somehow made it inland, carried in mobile tanks by human engineers. Birds filled the air outside the windows. The ground shook as elephants and other large animals moved into position. All of Earth's species are ready, she reported. If Admiral Korthfell wants a fight, he'll get one, unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. High above, the first shots of the alien civil war began. Ships loyal to the old ways fired on vessels carrying the reformed aliens. Commander Yoseth had gathered nearly half the fleet to his side, but they were outgunned. This is Commander Yoseth to all reformed vessels, he broadcast. Protect the planet below. They're teaching us how to live again. The space battle raged while on Earth's surface, something miraculous was happening. Aliens and humans worked together to coordinate a defense that spanned the entire planet. Dolphins provided underwater intelligence. Birds carried messages faster than any radio. Land animals moved supplies and people with efficiency that amazed even the humans. Dr. Song Yunhai stood in the command center, her hand resting on Buddy's head. Around her, alien and human voices mixed as they shared information and strategies. Admiral's flagship is breaking through, reported Captain Zhu Jihe. He's targeting the major cities. Then we give him a target he can't ignore, Dr. Song replied. She picked up the global communication device. All species, all friends, this is our moment. Show them what partnership really means. What happened next would be remembered in galactic history forever. Every animal on Earth seemed to move at once. Whales sang in harmonies that created sonar patterns visible from space. Birds formed massive flocks that spelled out messages in dozens of languages. Land animals gathered in groups that created living symbols of peace and friendship. Admiral Korthfell watched from his command deck as the entire planet below him became a canvas of cooperation. Millions of creatures working together, not through force or fear, but through choice and love. It's impossible, he whispered. How can so many different species coordinate like this? His weapons officer looked up from his controls. Sir, I'm reading something strange. The planet's entire ecosystem is acting as one giant communication network. Every animal is connected to every other animal through the humans. Fire anyway, Admiral Korthfell ordered. Destroy it all. But his crew hesitated, looking down at the beautiful patterns of cooperation below. Many of them remembered their own species' ancient past. They remembered the companions their ancestors had lost. Sir, the weapons officer said quietly, I cannot fire on that. Admiral Korthfell spun around to see his entire bridge crew looking at him with new eyes. They had seen something wonderful, and they couldn't unsee it. You are all traitors, he snarled, reaching for the manual firing controls. A small sound stopped him. From somewhere on his ship came a noise he had never heard before. Purring. Scholar Nexaroon emerged from the elevator, still carrying Sakura. Hello, Admiral. I brought someone who wants to meet you. How did you get aboard my ship? He demanded. Your own crew brought me up, she replied. They want to learn too. Admiral Korthfell looked around his bridge and saw the truth. His officers were looking at the small cat with wonder and curiosity. The spell of absolute control that had held his people for millions of years was finally breaking. This changes nothing, he said, but his voice was weak. I will still destroy this world. Sakura jumped down from Scholar Nexaroon's arms and walked slowly toward the Admiral. She sat down in front of him and looked up with her bright green eyes. Then she began to purr again. That wonderful sound that seemed to heal something deep inside anyone who heard it. Admiral Korthfell stared down at the small creature. She was tiny, helpless, completely at his mercy, but she wasn't afraid. Was offering him something he had never been offered before. Trust. I don't understand, he whispered, kneeling down. Why isn't she afraid of me? Because she knows you're not really a monster, Scholar Nexaroon said gently. You're just someone who forgot how to be kind. The Admiral reached out with one shaking finger and touched Sakura's soft fur. She purred louder and rubbed against his hand, for the first time in his very long life. Admiral Korthfell felt what it meant to be chosen by another being. He began to cry. 3 months later, Ambassador Park Jesu stood before the Reformed Galactic Council, Buddy sitting proudly beside her. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the great chamber, and many of them had brought companions of their own. The Symbiotic Alliance welcomes all species who wish to learn the art of friendship, she announced. Earth offers to share our knowledge freely and to help restore the companions your worlds have lost. In the audience, children from dozens of different species played together with Earth animals who had volunteered to be ambassadors. Alien youngsters laughed as puppies licked their faces and kittens climbed on their shoulders. Dr. Kim Wano had succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. The Biodiversity Restoration Project was already showing results on 17 different worlds. Dead planets were coming back to life as new species learned to work together. War-Master Kextel, now called Teacher Kextel, lead training programs, where former soldiers learned to be partners instead of commanders. Its own companion, Buddy, had become famous across the galaxy as a symbol of peace. Admiral Korthfell had retired to a small farm on a moon near Earth, where he spent his days caring for rescued animals and teaching young aliens about kindness. Sakura still lived with him, now joined by several other cats who had adopted the lonely old admiral. But perhaps the most important change was in the children. Across the galaxy, alien youngsters were growing up with animal friends. They were learning cooperation instead of domination, partnership instead of control. The species that had turned their planet's apex predators, into living weapons had done something far more powerful. They had turned them into teachers of love. Scholar Nexaroon, now the head of interspecies studies at the Galactic University, often said that humans hadn't domesticated animals at all. Instead, animals had domesticated humans, teaching them how to be better than they ever thought possible. And in return, humans had shared that gift with the stars. The galaxy would never be the same. For the first time in millions of years, it was filled not with the sound of war, but with the sound of purring, barking, singing, and laughter. It was the sound of friendship spreading from world to world, species to species, heart to heart. The universe had finally learned to love.